Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Michael Harris. This is the Fruits of Virtue podcast. It's dedicated to helping you live your best self, choosing to live a life of character and integrity, and to bring happiness into your life based on those things. Today, I welcome my special guest, Wayne Davis. We became friends a few years ago, and I think he has a nice message for us today. Welcome, Wayne.
Well, thank you, Dr. Harris. It's great to be with you today.
Excellent. When we were talking a few years ago, you indicated to me that you were doing some research on joy and then we're going to write a book.
Yes, I have written a manuscript. It's in the process of being published. And the title of the book is Joy, Your Natural State. And it's a 365-day inspirational guide with a different thought for every day and a place for people to write at the bottom of the page. What did they take from the reading of the day, and what's one step that they could take in their life today to move closer to joy?
I like that. So it's a how-to. I mean, it's not just being inspired, but you're going to do something with the thought.
Yes, take action.
Now tell me, how did you come about wanting to research this and then to prepare a message for the people of the world?
It came about because of two seminal things that happened in my life. One was when my son was born, and later my daughter 2 years later. And I held them in my arms for the very first time. And I looked in their faces and their eyes, and I experienced joy, not just from me, but I saw joy in them. And the thought came to me that they were born in joy. And it just so happened that when my son was born, we were living in Arkansas, and after his birth, and this is back in the days when they didn't let fathers go into the delivery room, and so he was, with his mother. His mother was in the hospital for a few days, and I was driving home, and I passed a sign. We were living in Little Rock, Arkansas, and it said, "Arkansas, the natural state." And I thought, that'd make a great title for a book, Joy, Your Natural State. And so that's kind of where I came up with it. And that was the beginning of something that ruminated over a long period of time.
Interesting. How long ago was that, did you say?
That was in 1974. And life got in the way, got busy, and I didn't start writing it until after I took a couple of your workshops, Dr. Harris, in 2016 and then again in 2017. And that's when I started writing it. I actually hand wrote it out first, all 365 days. I'm a two-finger typist. And then in 2019, I actually started typing it up. It's actually taken me 5 years to finish it. And I finally got it finished and submitted to a publisher.
Fantastic. How would you define joy?
I would define joy as that underpinning sense that flows deep within us, that gives us a sense that we are connected not only to ourselves and those around us in a profound, deep way, but also to a higher source, a higher power. And that produces what I call joy.
We come across people that seem to be naturally happy or joyful. I think you're one of those. As when I met you some years ago, you carry a certain spirit, a certain happiness about you. Is that true, that some people have more of it? And how do we grow it within ourselves?
The New Testament, it talks about the fruit of the Spirit. And one of the fruits of the Spirit that are mentioned by the Apostle Paul in the New Testament is the fruit of joy. It's interesting he would use that analogy because joy really is a fruit, a byproduct of other things and something else that's going on in our lives. And I think some people just nurture it more than others. It's there. And what a lot of people don't realize, thus, ergo the book, is to help people realize that we were born in joy. It is our natural state. We just have to learn ways to tap into it and remove the roadblocks that keep us from the joy that is naturally ours.
Very, very interesting. So this program will help someone day by day seek a life of joy. Does gratitude have something to do with joy?
I think it really does have something to do with it. Another component that I did not mention earlier is that there's a different thought of the day from some person in the world. It could be Seneca, it could be Jesus Christ, it could be Buddha, it could be Aristotle, it could be Homer, it could be Emerson. And I take that thought of the day and relay it to this topic of joy. The way that ties into what you just questioned is that if we search for it, joy is there to tap into. It's like the spring that is hidden behind a rock. If we tap into that rock or drill through it, we may find that a spring comes flowing out. And gratitude is one of the ways that we get to that joy, being grateful for what has happened in our life. And the way one person put it, he has a practice of every day writing down at least one thing where he saw the hand of God in his life, or saw that infinite source. Jesus described it as a spring of water that bubbles up. Gratitude is one of the ways I think we drill through the rock, the layers that build up to help us get to that joy.
Very interesting. Our world is so divided. There's chaos. There's people that are despairing and discouraged and hopeless. How do they find joy when they feel the world is so heavy?
I'm a Christian, and so I come from a theological construct, if you will, and I rely a lot on the scriptures to help provide answers to some of these questions. There's an interesting scripture in the New Testament that says that they who come to God, who I believe is the ultimate source of joy, must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. A lot of people don't know how to find joy because they simply don't know where to look. Some people, as the old saying says, people look for love in all the wrong places, that old country western song. I'm old enough to remember Howard Hughes, one of the wealthiest men in the world when he was alive. And money didn't buy him joy. And from what I understand, all the news reports was that he died alone, a very sad man. He had no family. He had no one around him who really, really cared for them. So part of it is knowing where to look for joy. And that kind of also plays into my life story, which I've worked through and overcome some of the times of my life. I've not always been a joyous person, and how I have rediscovered and retapped into that joy in my life.
What are typical barriers or obstacles for joy?
It's simply belief. There are people who, for example, who are born into family systems, had either siblings or friends, or just wherever these messages come from. It could have been from a teacher. If you tell a child that they're worthless, that they're never going to amount to anything, if they are in an environment where all they see is sadness and joy is not possible for them, and they come to believe that, then that belief turns into feelings. And well, as you know in your work, that belief plus action brings results. That joy is my natural state that I was born in. And if we latch onto that belief, okay, that's where I started, that's where I'm supposed to be, that's my natural state. And then we decide, okay, I'm going to take action in regards to that belief, then I'm going to produce results in my life that are going to bring me joy. And I'll just share one other quick story. I was listening to a national radio show, and this man was talking about his career. He'd not always been successful, and he actually drove a cab, and he and his wife, they literally were making diapers for the baby because they couldn't afford to go and buy Huggies or paper they never gave up. And today he's got a very successful career. And part of it is because he acknowledged that he never stopped. He kept honing his talents, his career, and they just kept working, and opportunities came. And part of it is just getting that encouragement to say, you can make it. Somebody believes in you. It's going to be okay. And I love that scripture that says, weeping endureth for a night, but joy cometh in the morning.
Ooh, I like that.
And having that hope that a better day is coming, I think it really starts with belief, taking action on that belief, and seeing results that will come from it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do we sustain it? But I think you just gave us the answer, which is, what you feed your mind, right? And having a game plan where you take action each day.
And not only is it accepting what the divine believes about us is a divine spark, an eternal spark, but also we have to believe in ourselves.
Yes.
And that is so crucial. And that's been an important component, I think, of this book. And my message is that our life started with that, from a divine spark of joy, and that it's coupled with we believing that we deserve joy and that joy can be ours. And that if we pursue that, you make the journey back.
Yes.
And part of it is discovering what is it that's keeping me from joy, and then working your way back sometimes to get to that place.
How do we keep it going? We do really well with some of our goals, and then we seem to struggle.
The first way is buy my book when it's published. That's a great way to do it. Read it every day.
Right.
That's a little bit self-serving. I do think the book points to the importance of everyday self-examination. One of the things that we can learn from other people is that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And what can we learn? Winston Churchill put it this way. He said, those who fail to learn the lessons of history are doomed to repeat its failures. One of the lessons of history is that some of the greatest men and women who ever lived were people of self-reflection. And one way we can keep it going is the way we start our day. They say within the brain waves, when you first wake up, within the first 30 minutes, what you put into your brain and feed those brain waves will have a huge impact on how your day goes for you.
Yes.
When I wake up in the mornings, there's times when I wake up and I get on my feet, and my wife laughs me about this, and I'll go, "This is the day the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it."
All right.
And in those first few moments, I also find an opportunity, even if it's just for a moment or two, to get on my knees and give thanks and find ways to tap into that. What we read, what we listen to, as we start our day, every day, building that discipline in is one way to keep the engine going. The other way is at the end of the day, taking, whether you sit by your bed or you sit in a chair or you just lay on your pillow and you reflect on the day. Benjamin Franklin was somebody who really disciplined himself in his life to do that. And he kept journals and journals and journals where every day he would write the answers to questions. And I'm paraphrasing, but basically what he was doing was he was looking at, what did I learn today? What did I do well? And what areas of self-improvement could I have made? And that's another way feeding the engine. And then finally, plan your next day. What is it you want to accomplish? And I'm going to throw one other thing in here because I'm kind of on a roll here for a second. How do you keep the engine going? We have to become that person that we want to become. And there's a great story about Gandhi. A woman brought her son to see him. Master, my son is addicted to sugar. My son respects you and honors you. Would you please tell him not to eat sugar? And Gandhi told the mother, bring your son back in 30 days and I will speak to him. 30 days later, she came back, sitting there in front of Gandhi. And Gandhi turns to her son, the young man, and says, stop eating sugar. And the woman, kind of dumbfounded, said, why did I have to wait 30 days? Because I had to stop eating sugar first.
Wow.
And I think the thing about looking in the lives of others for inspiration and guidance is there are people who have discovered a sense of joy and purpose. If you're stuck and you're not finding your way out or way through, you have to humble yourself to ask for help. And secondly, be open to the possibility that maybe you don't know everything there is to know about joy, and you can learn some tips from other people. One last thought on this, because I think it's helped me, because there have been times in my life when I've been stuck, that a guidance system in a rocket ship does not actually function until the rocket takes off, and then the guidance system guides the rocket. So for me in my life, when I've been stuck and I'm going, okay, God, universe, tell me what I'm supposed to do next. And there's no answer. It's been because I was supposed to get up and move in a direction. And then I'll be guided once I move in a direction. It could be as simple as getting a job at McDonald's or selling fans or things I've done, to move, to do something. And then I found myself guided and doors open and making room for joy in my life.
That is a great message, what you just shared. I'm a big believer in rituals as well, having patterns in the morning when we get up and do some of the things that you're describing. Maybe because of our age, we've learned a few things, even though there's still much more to learn, as you just indicated.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Dr. Harris, but I dye my hair this color. This is not my natural color. So that's not true. I tell people I'm 39 for the 32nd consecutive year.
Okay. Wayne, this has been a good message today. Succinct and powerful and straightforward is what people want to hear. And I think you've given our audience some very important pieces of information.
Great. And I just want to express my thanks for being on here with you tonight. And to anybody that looks to Dr. Harris, he has made such a big difference in my life. His workshops, 2016 and 2017, literally turned my life around in a different direction. And I'll be always grateful for that, Dr. Harris. It's been great to be with you tonight.
Thank you, Wayne. We look forward to your book, and we'll let others know when it's published.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wayne. All the best.